Hello students, welcome to the lecture series on international business. We were discussing regional economic integration and this is the last portion of regional economic integration. So today we will start with part 7. I am Professor Soma Sen Gupta, Kamala Nehru College, University of Delhi. In this part, we will discuss the integration efforts among countries in Asia, and specifically here we will discuss SAARC and SAPTA. SAARC, that is the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Now, when different regions of the world were getting unionized, or there was some kind of agreements, multilateral agreements between the countries, then Asian countries also thought of integration among themselves. So SAARC was one of the efforts of South Asian nations of India and all our neighboring countries. So SAARC is an economic and geopolitical organization. It was established to promote socio-economic development, stability and welfare economies and collective self-reliance within its member nations. So the thought was pure and development oriented. But was it a success? We will discuss in the course of this lecture. Now, it was founded during a summit in 1985. SAARC's initial members included Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. Due to rapid expansion within the region, Afghanistan received full member status and a number of countries are considered observers, which we will discuss later on. So, Afghanistan also joined SAARC. SAARC respects the principles of sovereign equality, territorial integrity and national independence as it strives to attain sustainable economic growth. So, SAARC was going according to the principles of regional economic integration. So, this is the whole of the diagram of or map of SAARC, and where you can see all the member nations and India being the big brother. It is playing big brother to all the SAARC members. Now, let us discuss the history of SAARC. Why it is important? Because although we thought of a regional economic integration, it was not an easy effort, and moreover all these neighboring countries are not in good terms with each other, and till now SAARC is not a great success as it is in case of EU or any other regional economic integration like ASEAN. So, the idea of cooperation among the South Asian countries was discussed in 3 conferences. Asian Relations Conference, which was held in April 1947 in New Delhi. Then Bagoy Conference, Philippines, May 1950. And then another conference took place in Colombo, and that is Colombo Powers Conference, Sri Lanka, April 1954. Now, in 1970s, the 7 inner South Asian nations that included Bangladesh, Bhutan, India and the Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka agreed upon the creation of a trade bloc. The idea was to provide a platform for the people of South Asia to work together in a spirit of friendship, trust and understanding. Now, the beauty of SAARC is that most of the countries in this region, they more or less can understand each other's language. They have the same preferences, eating habits or style, fashion, way of living. So, it is quite similar. So, they believe that this will help in development of the whole of the region. For Bangladesh, a prime reason for proposing this regional cooperation framework was the failure of its attempt to join ASEAN. So, Bangladesh wanted to join ASEAN, but it failed to join ASEAN, which was a bigger body, and then the then Prime Minister, he thought of forming a regional economic integration or bloc. Seeking to replicate the successes of ASEAN and a way to legitimize his government, President Ziaur Rahman of Bangladesh wrote official letters to the leaders of the countries of South Asia presenting his vision for the future of the regional cooperation. So, during his visit to India in December 1977, Rahman discussed the issue of regional cooperation with the then Indian Prime Minister Morarji Desai. So, in the inaugural speech of the Colombo Plan Consultative Committee, which met in Kathmandu also in 1977, now King Birendra of Nepal gave a call for close regional cooperation among South Asian countries in sharing river waters. So, what happens when some bilateral talks are going on between the two countries, any two countries, the other countries also think of reaping the benefit of such type of agreement and they wish to join that agreement. So, one by one other countries also thought of joining SAARC. So, after the USSR's intervention in Afghanistan, efforts to establish the union was accelerated in 1979 amid the resulting rapid deterioration of South Asian security situation. Responding to Rahman and Birendra's convention, officials of the foreign ministers of the 7 countries met for the first time in Colombo in April 1981. The Bangladesh proposal was promptly endorsed by Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Maldives. However, India and Pakistan were skeptical initially. The Indian concern was the proposal's reference to the security matters in South Asia. Now, India feared that Rahman's proposal for a regional organization might provide an opportunity for new smaller neighbors to internationalize all bilateral issues and to join with each other to form an opposition against India. So, that was the fear among the Indian government. Pakistan also had its own share of fears. It assumed that it might be an Indian strategy to organize the other South Asian countries against Pakistan and ensure a regional market for Indian products, thereby consolidating and further strengthening India's economic dominance in the region. So, we can see that the seeds of SAARC was not sown properly, in the sense that there was always a doubt among the countries and they doubted the credentials and intentions of each other. So, but still a series of diplomatic consultations took place headed by Bangladesh between South Asian UN representatives at the UN headquarters in New York from September 79 to 1980. It was agreed that Bangladesh would prepare the draft of working paper for discussion among the foreign secretaries of South Asian countries. So, the foreign secretaries of the inner 7 countries again delegated a committee of the whole in Colombo in September 1981, which identified 5 broad areas for regional cooperation. So, they zeroed it down to different areas. So, new areas of cooperation were added in the following years. So, in 1983, at the international conference held in Dhaka by its Minister of Foreign Affairs, the foreign ministers of the inner 7 countries adopted the Declaration of South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, that is SAARC. They formally launched the integrated program of action initially in 5 agreed areas, as we said. So, the 5 agreed areas of cooperation were agriculture, rural development, telecommunications, meteorology, health and population activities. So, these were the initial 5 areas. Officially, the union was established in Dhaka, with Kathmandu being the union's Secretariat General. So, the Secretariat General or the head office, we can say, is located in Kathmandu. The first SAARC summit was held in Dhaka on 7 to 8 December 1985 and hosted by the President of Bangladesh, Hussein Ershad. So, we can consider it as the date of formation of SAARC. So, the declaration was signed by all the heads of state of these 7 countries, like King of Bhutan Jigme Singhe Wangchuk, President of Pakistan Ziaul Haq, Prime Minister of India Rajiv Gandhi, King of Nepal Birendra Shah, President of Sri Lanka Jayawardene, and President of Junior Jayawardene, and President of Maldives Momen Goyam. So, all of them signed this declaration and the SAARC was formed. And they thought of keeping certain observer countries also, who will time to time observe and give their advices and recommendations. So, states with observer status include Australia, China, the European Union, Iran, Japan, Mauritius, Myanmar, South Korea, the United States. Some of these countries wished to join SAARC, but that was never fructified. Now, if we have discussed the long history of SAARC and why we are emphasizing SAARC, because India is a member of SAARC country, SAARC bloc. So, key details about SAARC are as follows. So, first of all, we must remember the establishment. The SAARC charter was signed in Dhaka, Bangladesh on December 8, 1985. So, in 1985, SAARC was established. The members included the 7 nations, and then Afghanistan joined in 2007. The original initial 7 members were Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka, and later Afghanistan also became a member. The headquarter or the secretariat is located at Kathmandu, Nepal. The key goals or goals of SAARC are: the organization aims to accelerate economic and social development in its member states through enhanced intra-regional cooperation. But there are several challenges. Now, these countries, as we said, as I have discussed, that most of them are not on friendly terms with each other, and especially India and Pakistan, the 2 biggest country members of SAARC, they are always in a tension among themselves. So, political tensions between member states, particularly India and Pakistan, have significantly hindered SAARC's activities and the holding of annual summits since 2014. So, you must remember that when we are talking about regional economic integration, the member nations should be on friendly terms. Then the bloc will be successful, like the European Union, and also they should be having equal social standing or economic standing, so that there should not be a question of people migrating easily from one state to another, one country to another, as is the problem with NAFTA, where you see that one of the member, that is Mexico, is poorer in comparison to the 2 other members, that is Canada and US. So, for a economic integration to be successful, not only there should not be any tensions between the countries, there should not be any legal and political upheaval in the countries, or any kind of migration problem, and all this should not be there, and plus they should have equal economic standing. So, then the union will be successful. So, that is why it is very difficult to become a member of European Union for the countries who are non-member, but they are in Europe. So, smaller countries, if they wish to become the member of European Union, they have to meet certain criteria. So, on certain criteria, they should be competent enough to become the EU member, otherwise they don't get membership of European Union. But in SAARC, we are not taking care of all those things. Now, what is the significance of SAARC? Because SAARC still has important implications for all the countries, and it is beneficial for all the countries or the member countries. So, first is regional integration. SAARC represents a significant effort to foster economic and political integration in the South Asian region. Economic and social development. Its focus on collective self-reliance and development aims to improve the welfare of the people in South Asia. How it works? Like any other union or bloc, they regularly have meetings. So, working and organization structure of CERC is like it runs with meetings, while summits of head of state or government were intended to be held annually. None had occurred since 2014. So, you can understand how the CERC is operating. So, initially it was a success to some extent, but since 2014 it is standstill and no summits are happening. Technical committees, these committees are responsible for identifying cooperation areas, developing programs and monitoring implementation in various sectors. There are specialized bodies. CERC member states have created specialized bodies of CERC in the member states which have a special mandates and structures different from the regional centers. So, these specialized bodies are as follows, and they are located in different member countries. So, CERC Arbitration Council, SARCO, then CERC Development Fund, SDF, South Asian University, SAU, South Asian Regional Standards Organization, SARSO, all these bodies are there. So, they are managed by governing bodies, boards composed of representatives from all the member states, the Secretary General of CERC and the Ministry of Foreign and External Affairs of the host government. The heads of these bodies act as member secretary to the governing board, which reports the program committee of CERC. Then there are different regional centers also. The CERC secretariat is supported by regional centers established in the member states to promote regional cooperation. So, as we know that the secretariat is located at Kathmandu in Nepal, but there are regional centers in each and every country or member country. So, like CERC Agriculture Committee, CERC Meteorological Research Center, CERC Forestry Center, CERC Documentation Center, these are all regional centers and their location are different countries including India. Many of them are in India, but I have not given the details, otherwise it would have become too long for the lecture. Then CERC Disaster Management Center, which is there in Pune, CERC Coastal Zone Management Center, which is in Maldives, CERC Information Center, CERC Tuberculosis and HIV AIDS Center, CERC Human Resource Development Center, CERC Energy Center, CERC Cultural Center. So, these are all regional centers. They also are managed by governing boards, and boards are comprising of all the member states, CERC Secretary General and Ministry of Foreign and External Affairs of the host government. Now, after CERC, we will discuss SAPTA, South Asian Preferential Trade Agreement, and this agreement was signed in SARC only. So, the South Asian Preferential Trade Agreement, SAPTA, was a 1993 agreement among the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, SARC, countries to promote trade through tariff reduction. So, SAPTA is an agreement which was signed by the SARC members only. So, signed by SARC members including Bangladesh, India and Pakistan, SAPTA aimed to foster economic cooperation by gradually liberalizing trade, though it had limited scope and coverage. So, who are the participants then? All the member nations. So, the agreement involved the 7 original SARC members, that is Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. So, by now you must have understood how it was working and must be remembering these 7 initial members, and later Afghanistan joined in 2007. But when SAPTA was signed, only 7 original members were there. What was the objective of SAPTA? SAPTA's main goal were to promote mutual trade and sustain economic cooperation among the developing countries within the region. So, basically when you are having this kind of a trade agreement, you want that all the member nations should cooperate together, and when they will cooperate economically together, then naturally economic cooperation will ensure development of all the countries. So, when multilateral trade agreements are signed between the member nations, then naturally each of the nation will reap in benefit from such an agreement. tariff concession, of course, you want to remove and reduce tariffs as much as possible. So, that was the objective of SAPTA also. So, SAPTA it introduced tariff preferences by reducing import duties on a limited range of products. Then there was this rule of origin. To qualify for preferential treatment, products had to comply with specific rules of origin. So, specific rules were there, then only the that company will be eligible for or country will be eligible for preferential treatment. To ensure they substantially originated from a participating country and to minimize product diversion from third parties. So, basically the origin of the product should be one of the member countries. It should not be that the product is manufactured or extracted in some other country and the member nation is just ensuring that it is channelized through it to the other member nations. So, the rule of origin says that it should originate in the member nations and not they being bought by the from the third parties. Now, evolution of to SAFTA. Now, SAFTA was designed as an initial step and it paved way for a broader free trade area and eventually a customs union, and that was SAFTA. So, SAFTA had a very limited life because it was replaced by SAFTA, and that SAFTA is the South Asian Free Trade Area, and it replaced SAFTA when it came into force in 2006. So, SAFTA had a very limited life and now it has been replaced by SAFTA, that is the South Asian Free Trade Area. Now, why there was a need for SAFTA? Because SAFTA SAPTA, it had a very limited repercussion and limited access, but SAFTA was much broader in scope. So, it has a much broader scope aiming for a complete free trade area with the goal of eliminating trade barriers and custom duties between member countries. So, in fact, SAFTA was moving towards a much greater integration because you are designing SAFTA, you were designing SAFTA as a customs union. If you remember the 5 stages of integration, so customs, this SAFTA has reached the customs union, but because of the political turmoil between the neighboring countries, especially India and Pakistan, so this kind of lessening of trade barriers and custom duties actually did not happen in letter and in spirit. So, that was we will discuss SAFTA in detail in the next lecture. So, for now you should understand why SAFTA was converted into SAFTA. So, let us summarize this lecture. So, when we talk about Asian regional integration effort, one of the important integration effort was the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, popularly known as SAARC, and it is an intergovernmental organization of 8 South Asian countries established in 1985. Its members, although Afghanistan later on joined SAARC, but here in summary I have written first, but initially it was Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka, and later Afghanistan became the member of SAARC. So, and its headquarter and secretariat is located at Kathmandu, Nepal. It was established to promote economic, social, technological and cultural development and collective self-reliance among its member states. So, initially the SAARC actually did the same and it promoted this kind of economic cooperation, and that is why the countries in the SAARC also grew economically as well as social development and economic development took place in the member nations. But political tensions between member states, particularly India and Pakistan, have significantly hindered SAARC's activities, and since 2014 no summit took place of SAARC. The South Asian Preferential Trade Agreement SAPTA was a 1993 agreement among the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation SAARC countries to promote trade through tariff reductions. But it had a very limited life, and SAPTA, although it was designed as an initial step, paving the way for a broader free trade area and eventually a customs union. So, it was replaced by SAFTA. So, the South Asian Free Trade Area SAFTA replaced SAPTA when it came into force in 2006. So, we will discuss SAFTA in detail in the next lecture, but it's a pity that a region which has abundance of resources, the South Asia, and where there are big countries like India is there, and still SAARC couldn't reach that kind of glory or that kind of regional economic integration as it happened in other areas like other parts of the world like the ASEAN or the European Union and also the North American regional integration. So, but if efforts are made, then SAARC can also be as successful as them, because we are culturally and culturally a same region and same geographically and culturally we are same. So, this is about SAARC. Now, for references, you can go to any of the e-material which is available, plus certain books like C.B. Gupta, International Business, S. Chand Publication, New Delhi, then Sumiti Verma, International Business, Pearson, Publication, New Delhi, Chaturvedi and others, International Business, MKM Publishers Private Limited, New Delhi, and Hill and Hult, International Business, Competing in the Global Marketplace, McGraw-Hill, Singapore publication. So, I believe you have understood these concepts and you will go through all these books to understand SAARC and SAPTA in a better way. In the next lecture, we will discuss other Asian integration efforts and SAFTA. Thank you so much, students.